Brooke is looking for a second date update. She went out with a guy named Nick, and we're going to try to help her out. Hi, Brooke. How are you?
Hi, guys. So good to talk to you.
Hi, good to talk to you, too.
Happy to have you.
So I met this guy, Nick, at a bar. I was with a bachelorette party, and things were a little wild. They got a little out of hand, and I was with a group of maybe 20 women.
Oh, that's always trouble when they're that big.
Mm-hmm. And almost all of them were sloppy drunk.
Except for you.
Yes. No, because I don't drink that much.
And that's the worst because bachelorette parties are just crazy to begin with. But if you've got a group that large and they're all sloppy drunk, there's most likely a little bit of infighting.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because that's just way too many women to get along and agree on where you should go next and what you should do next and where everybody should be.
Yeah.
And then if you're the sober one in that group, oh, my God. That's a nice. Why'd you agree to go?
Well, because it's my good friend. But, at a certain point, I was kind of ready to run away. So I kind of slipped away from the group and was standing at the bar when Nick came up to me. And he started talking to me, said he'd been watching me and couldn't tell if I was with the group because I didn't look comfortable. So I laughed, and then we started talking. And he's really funny. He's really sweet. And about half an hour in, he was like, hey, you want to get out of here? And I was like, yeah. So I told my friends I had to go, and we left. Then he drove me to my place, and we sat in the car, and we talked for an hour. And so I finally invited him in. He ended up staying the night. And I had zero plans for anything like that happening that night, but it all just kind of felt so natural and easy, and I really liked him. And then everything was really good, and we talked for another hour in the house before he even kissed me. And then everything just took off from there,
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That was a long night.
Yeah, and maybe I should have asked him if he was married or had a girlfriend. And that's
Those are usually
what
good.
I'm worried about.
By the way.
You wouldn't think you would have to ask that question. You would like to assume that if the man is making a play and you guys are starting to fool around, that it goes without saying he's single. It's sad that you would think oh my God, I should have asked him. You should know. You shouldn't have to ask him.
No, but can you imagine, you go through all that, you have all those hours of conversation and whatever happens, and then he looks at his watch and he's like, well, my wife's going to be pissed. I should probably get back.
Yeah, so he left early the next morning. I asked him if I was going to hear from him. He said absolutely, but I never did. So, and I texted him once, but no reply. So I don't know, maybe I missed something.
You're a one-time texter, and then the rest is up to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Why don't we take a break? When we come back, we're going to call him up and see what he thought of his impromptu evening with Brooke and see if he does have something else going on that he did not disclose on that first night. So Brooke had no intention of meeting Nick that night. She was actually out at a bachelorette party, 20 women. And Brooke is the one who doesn't really drink all that much. So she's surrounded by a lot of drunken young ladies.
Sloppy ladies.
Yep. And she was kind of backing her way out of that situation, hanging out at the bar when she met Nick, who seemed reasonable and not as inebriated. And next thing she knows, she's talking to this guy, and he drives her to her place, and they talk some more, and one thing leads to another, and wasn't planned, but was lovely. And is hoping to see him again. She reached out. Thinks there might be some potential there, but he's not responded, and we're kind of curious as to what his situation is. So we're going to reach out, give him a call, and see if we can get some answers for Brooke. Who was that man?
Hello.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, who's this?
How are you, man? It's Jeff and Jenn at Q102. How are you?
I'm all right, depending.
Depending?
Is this
Is this a conditional all right?
Well, I mean, I know y'all. I mean, is this like a dating thing? What's going on?
Would it be the worst thing in the world if somebody had a crush on you and thought you were pretty cool and wanted to see you again? Would that not be somewhat flattering?
No, that's really nice. It just, it depends. Who are we talking about?
Do you remember Brooke?
Oh, man. Well, I had a feeling this would come back around, but I didn't think it would be like this.
Are you involved with someone?
No, it's not that. I mean, look, I liked her. I liked her a lot. We had a fun night. She's just a bit insistent, I guess.
How?
Well, look, she's like in this wedding coming up, and that's how I met her. I met her at this bar, and she was at a bachelorette party, and they were all having a lot of fun. I mean, everybody's really drunk except for her. But she kept saying over and over again, you have to come to this wedding with me. You just have to. You have to. And well, I just met her. Really cool, but that's not usually my thing. But I mean, she even, not to get too personal, but she brought it up during, like, things went really well. So we ended up hooking up, and she talked about it, then brought it up and asked me then, and then afterwards, and then it was the last thing she said when I was leaving. And then she texted
You're coming
me
to the
about it
wedding,
again
right?
next day.
Yeah.
Well, I hate weddings. I hate them. They're just not my thing. Like, it's go ahead and do your thing. It's not my thing.
Most men don't like weddings. There are some exceptions, but the majority.
I'm just not in that place. It's not part of my journey, you know. And I mean, again, no hate. It's just it's not my thing, and I don't want to really be at them. It feels very uncomfortable for me, especially if I'm there with. I mean, she's great, but I still don't know her very well. So it just.
Yeah. The insistent thing, that I think would be a bit off-putting to me. Like,
yeah,
I'm just getting to know you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was really enjoying that process, you know, just enjoying each other and then taking our, I mean, we didn't take our time exactly, but, you know, still getting to know each other. And that just felt like that's a big step to be a date to that sort of thing.
Big ask.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're coming to the wedding, though, right? You have to come.
Well, I mean, I was kind of waiting it out, you know, like that's why I didn't really answer. Like, I'd love to see her again, but I'm pretty sure it's this weekend. So, you know, I figured it'd be all right. So maybe we just met, you know, like it's not too crazy to not talk for a while.
I'll call her back after the wedding.
Yeah. Like, that's not, I don't think it's too mean. And just, we still don't, I mean, she probably has other people to see too, you know, like, I don't know. It just feels kind
Tim
of.
will go to the wedding with her.
Tim loves weddings.
I feel like you, man. It's not my thing.
No.
Yeah, it's not my thing, and I don't want to give the impression that it is, that maybe we're headed towards that. And so I just, you know, I want to keep it casual and get to know her for a little bit.
Yeah,
first, you know?
the weddings are interesting. I mean, some people look at wedding dates as just somebody to accompany them so they don't have to sit alone and it doesn't mean anything. And other people are like, if this person goes to the wedding with me, it's a sign he really cares.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to get serious.
I respect it, but I don't want to put out any vibes that are, you know, disingenuous. So, you know, I just feel like it's the right thing to not be present for that with someone I just met. That's where I'm coming from. So.
All right. So you're a fan of the show. You've heard us before. You know how Second Date Update works. We have her on the line. Let's talk to her. Brooke, your reaction to what Nick just said.
You seem like you would be into it. Like, you kept saying my friends were like a good time. You could have just said you weren't into weddings.
Yeah, sure. I mean, y'all are really fun, and I like you a lot. It just still feels. I mean, sure. I could have communicated better. I feel put on the spot and kind of strange about it. So
I would have been like, let me fall in love with you first before I make a big sacrifice like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there's a little more time, and I know I feel awkward about it. So I'm sorry I didn't really come out and say it, but it feels uncomfortable to me. Like, I just want to take a little more time, you know?
Yeah. I get it.
I get it.
Cool? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we just met, and for some reason, I thought you were really into it because you were like, "Oh, your friend seems so cool," but I misread the situation.
I mean, I'm into you. I'm really into you. I just I still don't know them as well either, and I don't want to take a wedding to get to know them. I mean, it's not about me and new people. Like, I just don't want to feel like a third wheel while also just wanting to be there for you, you know? Like, it's just a lot of distractions and a lot of excuses, too. So, just, you know, I'd like to hang out with you, and I'm sorry I didn't explain a little better. I just felt uncomfortable.
You were waiting it out. When is the wedding? Have we said when the wedding is?
I think
it's
you
next
said
weekend.
Next
it's
weekend.
next weekend. Got it.
Yeah.
So she was going to call us.
That's funny. All right. Well, can we set up a second date for
Please.
whenever without any obligation to attend a wedding?
Yes, I'd be down.
I mean, I'm glad to hear that. I mean, now that we've definitely talked about it, and I would appreciate that. I think that'd be great.
Okay. Yay.
Well, we know what Nick's avoidance maneuver looks like.
No kidding. He hides. All
That's
right.
very funny.
Especially on the radio. Thank you. That's the best way to communicate. Can't avoid that.
The lengths some men will go through just to avoid attending a wedding.
That is funny.
All right, Brooke, we're going to set
good.
this up with you. Nick, you'll be hearing from her soon. Thanks for coming on Second Date Update and agreeing to talk to us. Best of luck to you both.